particularly in the underground hip hop world, that don't really understand the business. They just make music and they think that's all it takes. That's not all it takes. Like, you know, so what if you make a good record? I know people that have made incredible records and got nowhere. Like, they've sold 10 copies. Do you know what I mean? It's a mission. And as I said in a recent interview with Michael Parkinson, it's fucking hard getting validation from other artists. And the problem is, obviously, like I said, you know, we don't have enough fans in the country, and we need to build a fan base. Yeah. Like, without the fan base, like, it's pointless all of us being artists. You know what I mean? So I think people need to be a bit more picky about who they push forward, because let's ask this question. God forbid, but if all the bigger names were to be on a plane going to Germany and the plane crashes and all of us die, who's carrying the torch? Do you know what I'm saying? So we need to find new heroes. Yeah. We need to find new legends. Yeah. So my legacy is that guy that's basically trying to constantly keep moving things forward and looking for new guys that can be the next and the next and the next. And that's what I'm trying to do with the channel. You know? And I think we talk about, you know, there's always these lists that we get, and we spoke about it the last time when the interview didn't come out properly, right? So I want to say that, right? All these lists that come up with who's your favorite and all that, whenever you hear them kind of questions, it's subjective. It's some guy online trying to get interaction for his post. They've got nothing better to say. So they just try and stir people's emotions by getting everyone to voice their opinion. Some people are silly and they fall for it and they get involved, right? It's subjective. I don't agree with none of those lists. And there's one particular list where, you know, we've said so many times that no one's documenting our stories, so we need to document our own stories. Right. So, first of all, Tony Spread Love, thank you for putting me up on that stage with Big Daddy Kane Master Race, because you're giving me another opportunity to basically be a part of the legacy that carries on. And these little stepping stones are the stepping stones that take you to where you're going to go. Yeah? I promised myself on the way up here that I was going to speak honestly. And I feel I've done that. I feel more of us need to do that. And I feel like there's a lot of issues that people keep talking about fixing but never gets fixed because all people do is talk. Yeah. Yeah? And when I address things, I'm seen as the negative guy because I'm addressing these things. Ah, Blade's paranoid. Ah, Blade's he's negative. Ah, whatever. So that's why none of you have a career in what you're doing. So I'm saying we can achieve so much, but we need to face the facts. Yeah. We need to face the truth about what needs to change. And I'd actually, when I'm done with saying what I want to say, I want to hear your opinion on that. Because you're someone I respect in the scene from a younger generation to mine that basically is trying to do things to move things forward. Yeah. But be honest, bro. Tell me what you see. Yeah? But I will come to that. Okay. Yeah? But what I want to say is, with these lists, there's one particular list that grated on me. Right? And it's got nothing to do with bitterness, ego, or anything. But I think Red Bull put out something saying 25 most influential rappers in the UK. Right? Now, some people are going to see it as me being egotistical and stuff. But I would like you lot to walk down the street with me, or come to the shows, or go anywhere, and then see the number of people that come up to me and tell me I influenced them, but my name's not on that list. So this ain't about me, it's about the lists not being correct. So if you're going to document things correctly. Right? So let me give you a little bit of a clue. Right? So obviously, like I said, 25 most influential rappers in the country. Bro, even you've told me I influenced you. Yeah? I get it from other rappers. Yeah. I get it from fans. I get it from people from different perspectives. When I stood on the streets and sold my records, I influenced a whole bunch of people because I stood on the streets and sold my records. So I influenced them business-wise as well as music-wise. I know there was a lot of rappers back in the day that you've not heard of that were copying my stuff. Yeah? So there's other people, like, but there's a big difference between influence and a good record. So don't confuse the two. When you're sitting down doing these lists, right? Dope records are dope records. Can't take nothing away from people making dope records. Like say, Kalashnikov, Murder, dope record. Yeah. But he's done loads of dope records, right? But he also influenced a lot of people, because I feel like the grime scene wouldn't be where it was without somebody like Kalashnikov doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
I feel like he was the beginning of that. You know what I'm saying? There was other people already there, but that inspired a lot of people, because he was all over Channel U. He was killing it.
Yeah.
I feel Task Force should be in that list, because look how many people are trying to sound like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, London Posse, and you know, all these things.
Yeah.
But what does the word influence, or the most influential, what does the word influential mean? It doesn't mean the best record. It means people who influenced others.
Yeah.
So if you want these results, go and do your research, walk down the street, talk to people and ask them. And if you know, some people are going to forget names, but put a bunch of names in there, and I guarantee you there's certain names that are going to keep popping up, right? And I feel like, for the way I inspired people to do their own thing, I mean, I had clothes shops coming to me back in the days and calling me up and going, yo, how do you do this mail order thing? And then I see them same clothes shops basically sending me clothes and saying, oh, thanks for the advice and everything. I set up the P.O. box, I set up the shop address, and I'm getting postal orders now. And so I wasn't just influencing people in hip hop. And let's be clear, ask anyone in Europe that was around at the time who their biggest influences were.
Yeah.
And my name's among them. So why is it not in that list? But someone who's made a good record, or someone who hasn't even made a record, but is standing in a club MCing, is an influence to that genre, but their name is there, but mine isn't, when I've done much bigger things.
Yeah. Well, we're working on it. We're working on changing
But
that.
you understand what I'm saying?
Of course. 100%.
Right. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong at all.
Right.
You know, but again, it's a definition. You know, people get confused between influence, who's the best MC, who's the best rapper, who's the best pop hip hop. You know, sub genres. You know, a lot of people misconstrue it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where they go wrong with that.
I get it, but I just think it's rude that certain people aren't in there. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, if you're going to document these, the whole reason why the scene hasn't thrived the way it should is because of lack of correct documentation, right? And lack of people supporting each other, and all these kind of things. And these are the things that need to change. Now, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And if I feel like, you know, there's blocking or like whatever there is going on, then you know what? I'm just going to find somewhere else to go. I'm not going to wait for you. Do you get what I'm saying?
No,
there's only a couple times I'm going to ask people to come in and do things, and when I see that there's like a little bit of something against Blade or whatever, because it happens. Yeah, I've seen it happen to other artists as well, right? For whatever reason, whether it's your own fear or whether it's your fear that, oh, my man's better than me and he's going to go further or whatever, all of this happens. All of this, stop ignoring it. It happens. And you're not benefiting anyone by behaving in that manner. Do you know what I mean? You're not. So I wanted to obviously ask you your opinion, but I said, in what I was saying, I said there was a clue. Yeah? When I started my record label, right, before I started, 3-4 years before I started, I made a point of saying to all of my friends, one day I'm going to influence a lot of people. Right? So what did I do? I called my record label 691 Influential. So there's the clue. Right. You don't have to look hard to see that the name that you're giving all these people as credit is in a record label name. Started by an independent guy with no money, ripped up trainers, ripped up jeans, ripped up t-shirts, and standing on the streets, believing himself and selling his records. And don't forget, like what I did 38 years ago from selling cassettes on the streets and all that, like this is what everyone's doing on the streets now. There was no one doing it before me. Name one.
Wow. Name one.
Can you?
No, can't even think.
Right. So how can you say I ain't influenced no one? Because that influence, if you go all the way to the people that are standing on the street selling CDs, even now, and you ask them who their influence is, somewhere along the line, it's going to come back to Blade.